Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. It is, of course, a brand new week, and that means we got some new updates coming to Call of Duty in the coming days. And honestly, this week should be a pretty interesting one. We, of course, have our standard updates coming this week. That's no surprise. However, this week's update is going to debut a brand new mode for Warzone. And on top of that, we should be seeing some other changes make their way into the game, including ideally a fix for the Bren being wildly broken by mistake with the Season 2 update. So quite a bit to break down today as we go through it all. If you enjoy the video at any point, let me know by dropping a like on it. And if you're new to the channel or if you have not already subscribed, every day I got you covered with all things going on in COD. So feel free to subscribe with your notifications turned on. That way you can guarantee you are always up to date. So of course, because it is a brand new week, that means we got a brand new playlist update coming later on Thursday. Actually, March 3rd will be the next playlist updates. So breaking down what we got coming up this week, like I said, we got some interesting stuff. So if you haven't been able to tell so far, essentially every week they are rotating the mode availability with Vanguard Royale and regular Battle Royale. So the first week it was Vanguard Royale solos, duos, trios, and quads, and just quads for BR. Last week, or I guess still right now, it was solos, duos, trios, and quads for BR, and then just quads for Vanguard Royale. Now we're flipping it back. For the coming week, we're going to end up seeing Vanguard Royale, solos, duos, trios, and quads. And then for standard Battle Royale, it'll be just quads. And that sort of flip-flop is going to happen all the way through the mid-season update, it seems. So if you're a fan of Vanguard Royale, you like the no UAVs, you like the change of pace there where you can use some different perks, and it's obviously just the Vanguard weapons. We got every single mode available for that. If you prefer having just all of the weapons available, all the operators available, it'll be just quads for that starting on Thursday. We also have regular plunder quads that is now back. It's not limited to just Vanguard options, so that's great for anyone trying to work on maybe some camos, work on some Cold War or Modern Warfare weapon leveling, anything like that. You'll be able to do so in plunder. Now, when it comes to Rebirth Island, this is where things get exciting. Starting this week, we've got the debut of Iron Trial duos. Now, I'll break down the full rule set for this because it is a bit different on Rebirth in just a moment. But then alongside that, we also have some resurgence options as well. We've got duos, trios, and quads available there. So if you're a Rebirth fan right now, which really seems to be taking over Caldera in terms of like just general popularity, we do have quite a few options for that. Now, quickly focusing back on Rebirth Iron Trials. Obviously, this is the very first time we've ever seen Iron Trials expand outside of Verdansk. We've yet to see Iron Trials even in the playlist rotation since the Pacific update happened. I would imagine that eventually it's probably going to be added to Caldera as well. We'll see that for a week or two. But for now, it is limited to just Rebirth, and things here are going to be a little bit different. Obviously, it is still Iron Trials, so it's going to have that specific rule set. We'll refresh that in just a moment. But on the blog that actually announced that Iron Trials would be coming to Rebirth, they say it'll be featuring its own set of weaponry from Cold War and numerous rule changes to increase the time to kill. This mode is built for the most hardcore members of the community. However, players of all skill levels who want to change a pace should participate. Those who can't wait to learn more about this mode need not worry. It's going to start off as duo, so it's going to be 20 squads of 2, obviously, still 40 players on Rebirth Island. And this is still going to use that similar circle collapse size and speed. If you end up winning this mode, just like in the original Iron Trials mode back on Verdansk, you'll end up getting an animated calling card for that as well. And when it comes to the gameplay specifically on Rebirth, like I said, things are going to be a little bit different. Obviously, if you're used to playing Rebirth, we have the whole resurgence mode active, where if you die, you can end up respawning so long as your teammates stay alive for that set period of time, right? Because this is Iron Trials, there's no guarantee, and it's likely that it's not going to be a resurgence Iron Trials mode. If you die, you are dead until you end up getting bought back, and if you both die, there's going to be that no resurgence. There should still be the Rebirth Gulag, which we don't really get to see all that much unless you're playing like Mini Royale on Rebirth, which is occasionally in the playlist. So that in and of itself is definitely going to add in a pretty drastic change of pace. Rebirth is usually pretty fast-paced and hectic. I imagine that in this, because life is way more precious than where you can constantly respawn, players are probably going to slow down a bit, maybe play a little bit more passive, hold angles a little bit more. We're going to have to wait and see. Another pretty important change to note is that for Rebirth Iron Trials, it's going to be only Cold War weapons. There's going to be no Modern Warfare guns, no Vanguard guns either. This includes the loadouts that you're going to be able to pick, so obviously there will be the restrictions in play there, so definitely take note of that. But also all the ground loot, all the chest loot is going to be Cold War as well. I assume they're doing that because they're comfortable with the TTK of Cold War weapons with the increased health, and they really haven't had time to test the Vanguard weapons with that TTK. That's just me theorizing there, but yeah, it is going to be Cold War weapons only. And obviously, going back to that whole Iron Trials rule set, it is a little bit different. The base health is actually increased. Instead of having 100 base health, you have 250. There's also various changes to the buy station prices. Pretty much everything ends up costing a little bit more. Loadouts are 15,000, or they were previously. They might be changed up a little bit there because it's going to be Rebirth. Obviously, I imagine they might be like 10,000 instead of 7,500. Basically, though, all the buy station prices are a little bit different. Health regen is also different. There's also various changes to snipers. Those will only be a single shot headshot or a one shot headshot if you're within 30 meters. Stuns are less effective essentially here, then also stims are as well. So the whole gameplay scenario here on Rebirth is going to be entirely different for Iron Trials, and I for one am very excited to try it out. Now, alongside the playlist update for this week in the addition of Rebirth Iron Trials, we can probably expect there to be some other back-end changes and whatnot, maybe some surprise patch notes later on this week, because if we go ahead and we look at the Trello board, they've actually cleaned this up a lot. They've removed a lot of the issues that were underneath the global tab, although they removed some that definitely are still ongoing issues. Like, for instance, the whole Cold War weapons being locked, even though you surpassed the level that it says needed to be reached to actually unlock them. That's still broken. They removed that off the Trello board, said it was completed and fixed, but that's not fixed. So just a heads up, if anyone from Raven or Call of Duty or Activision is watching this, you might want to double check on that one, because players are still not unlocking their Cold War weapons, even though they've like prestiged at this point. I've gotten a couple of comments about that. But as far as what's on the Trello board currently, the freezing, they did say they fixed it a little bit with the surprise patch notes from last Thursday, I believe, and it did seem a little bit better, but it's not 100% fixed, and that's still on the Trello board for a reason. So they are still working on that, making sure players are not randomly freezing for 5 seconds in game. Pretty detrimental to gameplay, so hopefully they get that sorted soon. The redeploy balloons are still not showing up on the TAC map correctly, so they're working on that. Xbox is still crashing a ton when you try and join into a game, so that's still a major priority for them. And then the one that I fully expect to get fixed this week, those others are on the Trello board. We may or may not see them updated soon, but the one that I would definitely expect to see fixed is the Bren's damage. As we know, just like with the PPSH, the Bren's damage values were accidentally changed with the Season 2 update to make it ridiculously broken and even more overpowered than it once was before. Basically, the long range damage here, the close range damage here, it is scaled to a point where it is nearly unbeatable, I would say. So they are aware of that, and because this is basically the same issue that the PPSH had, that was obviously fixed last week, and it was only on the Trello board for a couple of days. I would imagine this one will be fixed here relatively soon, and I'm also curious to see if they make any actual weapon tuning with this update, because they did that with the PPSH. They fixed the damage values, but they also buffed the neck multiplier on the PPSH when they did that. I'm really interested in seeing if they fix the Bren damage values, but then maybe they also nerf its long range capabilities, because that's still, even without the broken damage, one of the most dominant choices for ranged fights, and there's really not much of a point in using anything else still, even when the damage values are where they're supposed to be, just because the Bren's lack of a damage drop off until very extreme ranges is just so overpowering versus really any other Vanguard, Cold War, or even Modern Warfare weapons. So we'll have to wait and see again for that. If there's any notes that drop this week, you already know we're going to be covering them right here, but hopefully we do see that changed in the coming days as well. Now, obviously, we also know Vanguard is going to see some updates this week. No word as to whether or not we'll see any like physical patch note updates or anything like that, but we know a new playlist update should be coming on Thursday as well. Unfortunately, they don't really ever preview what's coming like they do for Warzone there, so we'll have to wait till Thursday, where we'll be covering all the new changes in the updates going live. But all that being said, those are the major changes and updates you can expect for this week in Warzone primarily, and that's going to wrap things up for today. If you enjoyed the video, let me know by dropping a like on it. Would be seriously appreciated. And of course, if you're new to the channel or if you have not already subscribed, each and every single day I got you covered with all things going on in COD. News, updates, loadouts, tips, you're going to find it all right here. So feel free to subscribe with your notifications turned on. That way you'll always know whenever I post a new video. As always, if you want to check out any of my partners, be sure to use code IMMORTAL for a discount on all Scuff, G Fuel, Gamer Advantage, and Control Freak products. The links for all those can be found down in the description below. And if you ever want to join the Discord server, it's always updating whenever I post new videos, and that's a great way to interact with myself and other members of the community. That is also linked down below too. But once again, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.